Hello, my name is Retromoviegirl, and today I'm here with Suitors of Seattle Daisy. Suitors of Seattle Daisy is, I think, the fourth book in the series, or the third. I think it comes right after Lily's story, which I've talked about before, which I'll put up here in a card linked up above my head somewhere. But what is different about Daisy is that Daisy is shy. So instead of being constantly harangued by her mother, you're 18, it's time for you to marry at court, meet people and possibly find someone to marry you, she goes to her aunt to make a match. But there's another woman named Elizabeth who took over for her aunt. And Elizabeth sends her aunt a letter from a man named Eli. Eli had sent a letter sometime previously before the story even started, but he was not yet settled to where he could have a wife. He had all these things that he had to fix before he had one. So now he sends a letter to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is not sure what to do, so she sends it to the other matchmaker, the former matchmaker who lives in Seattle now. So she's given the letter from Eli, decides she wants to marry Eli, decides that she should go to Montana where he lives and marry him on the spot that day when she arrives. Her mother, however, has decided to come along, and that her other daughter, Jasmine, who is the practical joker of the bunch, troublemaker, blah, 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 should come along as well, to kind of see who Eli is, where he lives, whether Daisy would be happy there, blah, blah, blah. At first, Mother doesn't really like Eli because of his behavior. Eli immediately kisses Daisy and is lifting her up and all kinds of stuff that would be considered completely fine today and consensual today in some circles, but is considered at that time inappropriate and unseemly. So she goes to his house. She doesn't like his house. She has all sorts of problems with him as a person, his behavior, where he lives, what he does, all sorts of things happen. But Daisy wants to be independent, and she doesn't want to be part of the garden of these people. She wants to be an individual, and she learns how to be an individual separate from her family in Montana. But when she becomes pregnant, things get kind of turned around a little bit, because Eli had heard of experiences of people's mother dying, and then young boys especially not having a mother. So when Daisy, who was his wife, becomes pregnant, he starts to coddle her and say that she can't wash she's barely showing at this point, saying that she can't wash the floor, she can't lift heavy things, she can't weed a garden, we can buy canned fruit and vegetables, you don't really need to have a garden. All these physical activities for somebody who is healthy and nothing is really wrong with them are completely fine. As a matter of fact, you're encouraged as a pregnant woman today to exercise as much as you can, as long as it's safe for you and your baby. Eli doesn't think that any of it's safe, and that she could end up falling, bleeding, giving birth to the baby alone. So he enlists her mother to come there, her sister. First, he enlists her mother to kind of like I need to talk to you. I think she's doing too much, this and that. And in the meantime, it's like, she doesn't think it's a problem. I'm healthy. Nothing's going to happen to me and the baby. But in reality, at this point, a lot of people were, in history's way of thinking, a lot of people were probably, a great majority of people at that time, not so much today because of hospitals and things, but a lot of people were born at home, especially if you lived in a rural community and you couldn't get to like a hospital, you were born at home. So a lot of people had, some people, I won't say a lot, some people did have complications, and mothers and babies did die because of sometimes preventable things, and sometimes things weren't preventable because, you didn't have really access to a doctor unless you lived in town, or unless the doctor came to you and made house calls, which doctors did at that time. Anyway, so they enlist her sister Jasmine to kind of help her along and to make it so that she doesn't have to do so many heavy things by herself. And Jasmine is initially a nuisance. She's called a nincompoop, and her sisters really want her to get married so they can get rid of her so that she can stop bothering them. But over time, you learn that Jasmine is maybe not so bad, and she takes things a lot more seriously, and she's a lot less likely to make inappropriate comments the way she did the first time, asking inappropriate things and making people feel uncomfortable. But over time, you see the sisters get closer and learn to, and Daisy learns to rely on Jasmine a lot more. Jasmine is the main one that goes to not get Eli, but goes to like find one of Eli's people so that he can come home so that she can give birth to the baby. So Jasmine does come into her own. Even though Jasmine's story is not yet available on Audible, you can find it in ebook. You can find all the books I've ever talked about in ebook, so that if you're uncomfortable with Audible for whatever reason, it's still there for you. You can download it in ebook form. Don't worry about it. Ebooks are always available unless they've stopped it or taken it off. They're always available, and you can see the previous video I did about Lily up here above my head, and I'll talk to you in my very next video. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. Bye.